Australia. This is a history lesson on Letters Patent, which is the document that Queen Victoria issued to establish the position of the Governor-General in Australia upon Federation. You can download a copy of this document here. I will draw your attention to point 4 of this document, where it reads, "The Governor-General, so far as we ourselves lawfully may, upon the sufficient cause to him appearing, may remove from his office or suspend from the exercise of the same any person exercising any office of our said Commonwealth, under or by virtue of any commission or warrant granted, or which may be granted by us in our name or under our authority." And to simplify this, we'll take out all of the useless wording now and read it. "The Governor-General, upon sufficient cause to him appearing, may remove from his office." So that's anyone in public service, whether it be a judge, a politician, a bureaucrat, anyone on the public purse. Now here's the catch, ladies and gentlemen. Upon sufficient cause to him appearing. Appearing, ladies and gentlemen. And that's the loophole, Australia. Upon sufficient cause to him appearing. You actually have to physically front up before your governor to give the instruction. The governor can ignore every petition, every letter. And of course, we've got how many decades now worth of the fact that we know that they ignore letters and petitions and the whole lot. But what they cannot ignore are the people appearing before him or her. Ladies and gentlemen, you actually physically have to front up at your governor's gate to give the instruction. At the end of this video, there's going to be all the addresses of all the governors and the instructions that must be given. Australia, my countrymen, it is your lawful right and duty to instruct your governor directly. And they will only action your instruction when you physically present and give it. And of course, we need thousands of people who are prepared to come out and instruct those governors. Our governors live in a publicly funded house because they are actually in service to you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Most of us around the country gather at the gates of our governors on a Saturday at 10 a.m. sharp. In Sydney, they also do it on a Monday. I realise that a lot of well-intentioned countrymen have fallen into the trap over the last 4 years of idol-worshipping, self-proclaimed freedom leaders. And you've followed these people to nowhere for 4 years. And you really have to snap out of that naive state that you're in right now. Those people that you've been following, have they been educating you about the roles of your governors? No. As a matter of fact, they actively dissuade you from attending at the Governor's Gate. And now it's time you asked yourself, why? Well, I would suggest to you, my countrymen, that those people, those freedom leaders, are in fact controlled opposition, and they are running a protection racket for the Governor. This is how the Westminster system works. And this will be one of a series of videos that I'm now going to do to endeavour to explain to you things like electorate boundaries and how our Westminster system works. But this video is about the letters patent for a governor. You actually have to physically present and give the instruction. Australia, what do you want for your families, your communities, and your countries? We've faffed around for decades with rallies and protest marches and petitions and letters and all of it, and none of it's worked, has it? I mean, let's be real. None of it's worked. And none of it's worked because you actually have to appear before your governors to give the instruction. Your Governor-General is in charge of the federal parliament, and they are in charge of every federal bureaucracy, all of it. State governors in Australia are in charge of every local council, every state parliament, the judicial system within that state, and the bureaucracies. The state governors are also in charge of who is chosen and certified to sit in the federal parliament. State governors in Australia are in fact the most powerful people on the land. The Australian Constitution tells you your state governors choose, certify, and appoint who is to sit in the federal parliament. These are the facts. Now I need you guys to do your bit and start hitting the share button so that together we all begin the process of actually comprehending how our Westminster system works. Nothing happens anywhere in Australia without the say-so of a governor. The Governor-General sits as the chair of the Executive Council, which is another way of naming your parliamentary cabinet. They also call it the Executive Council. Well, the Governor-General sits as the chair of the Executive Council of the Federal Parliament. There is nobody higher than her, and nothing happens unless it's on her say-so. The role of the Governor-General in the Australian Federal Parliament: all legislation must be given the Governor's signature before it becomes law. So you have all this mainstream media propaganda going, oh, the federal parliament's passed this legislation. They can pass anything they like, but if it has not been signed by the governor, it is null and void. That's the process. Now, across state governments, that role falls on the state governor. So your state parliaments can pass any legislation that they like. But if that legislation is not given the signature of the state governor, then it's null and void. That's the system. So if your parliaments at any time pass any legislation that you do not okay, the only person you need to tell is your governor. And you roll up at their gates and you stand and give them the instruction that they are not to grant royal assent to that particular legislation. That's the system, folks. Now, when you've had enough of this Freemason shit show, you must present before your governor and give the instructions. Coming up at the end of this video will be a slide with those instructions and the addresses for every governor around the country. It is in fact your lawful right and duty to instruct your governors directly, and as I just showed you at the beginning of this video, Letters Patent, the job description of a governor, point 4, tells you straight out, you must appear before them. Please share and help me to educate others. Together we are mighty. We do outnumber them. And it's time we fronted up and showed them that. Bye, folks.